can't skip this Geico ad because it's already over. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. It's already over. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hey everybody.
Hello.
Nobody's here yet.
No one's here.
Well, let me make sure. Yeah, nobody's here yet. Surprise, because nobody thinks we're ever broadcasting anymore.
They think we've died.
They probably do.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yep. Very quiet title screen.
It is. It's just got the fire. They can't see it though.
No.
So a couple of things I wanted to talk about before we get into the actual meat of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully some people will join us. BlizzCon really wasn't anything.
I was kind of disappointed.
You know, I was really hoping for a Diablo 3 expansion.
Mm-hmm. I was expecting it.
Like, for sure that's going to happen. They're going to announce it. It will come.
Eventually, yeah. But I expected
I expected
I was
it.
waiting for it.
Didn't happen.
Honestly,
they gave a little bit more information about Legion, but seriously, it kind of felt like they built it all around the Warcraft movie and the esports.
Yeah.
Not that the esports are boring, but I don't know. I just don't play Blizzard games competitively, so I'm not really.
And I don't
interested.
follow them competitively.
Yeah,
I really don't care.
I mean, Legacy of the Void came out.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I'm like, I buy them the day they come out. Any Blizzard game, I buy it the day it comes out. For some reason, I just can't get excited about Legacy of the Void. I don't know why. Protoss is my least favorite race. I will eventually buy it.
I honestly still haven't played StarCraft 2.
Wings of Liberty, it's amazing. Heart of the Swarm, amazing. I know Legacy of the Void is going to be amazing. It's going to answer all of my questions that I've had about the series so far. I know that it's going to be an amazing game. I just can't.
Can't quite.
Yeah, I just can't get there.
Yeah, I get that.
Maybe I'll get it for Christmas and put some time into it, but I don't know. They've done a lot with Hearthstone. I mean, they released a new expansion for Hearthstone. Haven't really played it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Blizzard is going out by any means. I mean, they got Overwatch. Overwatch looks really cool.
It looks fun.
They've got Heroes of the Storm, which is kind of a cool. I mean, it's their take on the MOBA.
Mm-hmm.
I've played it a little bit. It's kind of a fun game. I mean, it's fun to play as those heroes. But, I don't know. Yeah, BlizzCon was kind of lackluster for me this year.
Came and passed without a lot of. I mean, the only thing that really came out of it, honestly, was the Warcraft movie trailer.
Which, let's talk about it for just a minute.
Okay.
It was kind of a letdown because they didn't give us I guess this is my problem. Blizzard is incredibly good at cinematics.
Mm-hmm.
Like the opening cinematic for Legion, where Gul'dan finds Illidan and it's just so excited.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, that's going to be so awesome. Hey, Riley won!
Yay!
Riley won, we missed you.
We did. We're glad you're here.
We've missed each other too, though.
Yep.
Because we haven't really talked a whole lot.
Yeah, we haven't really done this for a while.
I don't know why. I do know why, but anyway. Back to the Warcraft trailer. I didn't feel like it was that cohesive. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, stoked for this. You know,
Right.
That scene where Lane jumps off the balcony barefoot onto the griffin. I was like, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Dominic Cooper is going to do an amazing job as Keen Lane.
Yes.
Garona being played by... I don't remember who's playing Garona, but she looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that whole storyline is one of my favorites. That whole fall of Stormwind before World of Warcraft, before Warcraft 3. They're basically telling the story of Orcs and Humans, which is the first Warcraft game, which is the game that I started my love affair with Blizzard games, was Orcs and Humans.
Right.
So I'm excited to see that in a cinematic way.
Mm-hmm.
But the trailer kind of had me saying they're trying to do too much. Like, they're trying to make us care about Lane. They're trying to make us care about Durotan.
It seems like a lot of narrative threads going everywhere, and I'm not quite sure... Because it's not a video game, it's a movie.
Exactly.
You can tell all those narrative threads in a video game. A movie,
exactly.
It's never really worked too well.
I mean, who's the hero? And who's the villain?
Yeah, who are we supposed to be rooting for?
That's really my question. Is like, who's the villain of the movie? Is it Blackhand? Because that didn't really come out. I mean, is it Medivh? Because we didn't really even see Medivh in the trailer.
And just the basic idea that orcs are always the bad guys in these high fantasy epics. Casual moviegoers are gonna be like, oh, okay, we're rooting for the humans.
Yeah, we're definitely not in this movie. I mean, we're rooting for Durotan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I kind of was left with this, like, okay, I wish you would have crafted that a little bit more instead of just showing us these.
Oh no, Riley 1.
I'm sorry.
Stupid Wi-Fi is stupid.
Stupid Wi-Fi is stupid.
I need to call Cable One. Our Wi-Fi, I'm not very happy with it. Our
really?
Internet goes in
mine
and
either.
out.
Yeah,
like
mine's been going out.
And then we got this thing in the mail saying that oh, we've upped your price $10, but don't worry, it's because we also upped your connection. But it's like I've seen no change in it.
Yeah.
And my PlayStation 4 has trouble connecting all the time. And
that's ridiculous.
It's just, I don't know. I need to call them up.
Yeah, so that was my thoughts on BlizzCon. A lot of stuff has happened since BlizzCon. So I beat Disgaea 5. Yeah. Well, beat is a big word. I've finished the storyline.
Okay.
I mean, the game really comes alive after the storyline. I haven't beat it.
It's one of those games that really opens up in the new game.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you level 9,999, and then you reincarnate and do it all over again, and you do that in infinite amount of times. I love it. One big announcement, though, that I was kind of excited about is they're bringing the original Disgaea to the PC.
Are they?
Which I'm hoping is coming to Steam. I really hope they integrate it into the Steam Workshop so we get a lot of mods for it, because I think Disgaea is just begging for mods.
Yeah. That would be kind of cool.
It would be really awesome, and it would be a reason for me to buy the game again. I mean, I've bought it in every iteration that it's come out in.
So why not?
I want to add it to my Steam collection of 400 plus games that I play maybe 2 of. Stupid bundles get me every time.
I buy all these games and I never play them.
Yeah, it's like, seriously, what's up with that?
And when I buy them, it's like, oh, I need this game.
Yeah,
I absolutely need this game.
I see it on Amazon. It's like, it's 40% off. I need this. I'm never gonna play it because I hate this type of game, but I need it.
Well, even if it's games that I like games that I've played through, and I was like, yeah, I love that game. I need to buy that. I need it in my collection.
Yeah.
Why? I haven't touched it since I bought it, so why did I buy it?
You haven't missed anything, Riley 1. We've just been sitting here talking.
Yep, just talking.
Let us know if the sound's okay, though.
We've got a fun night ahead, though. I'm excited about what we're talking about.
Me too. So, there was some other stuff I wanted to cover, though, before we started playing.
So we've talked about BlizzCon. Talked about Disgaea.
Yes. Yoshi's Woolly World.
Yeah.
Just want to talk about that really briefly.
Okay.
I've been excited for this game since they first announced it, like in the Nintendo Direct 2 years ago, when they announced it. I thought it looked amazing. I thought it was a genius idea, because they're kind of taking the whole 2D Kirby yarn thing and throwing it into a 3D world.
Okay.
And I mean, he just looks awesome.
It looks amazing. I love what they've done with it. And it was the same with Kirby's Epic Yarn, how they did those visuals.
And I think it's
very, very cool.
It's a timeless graphic choice because, you look at Link to the Past.
Yep.
Link to the Past doesn't look like it's aged. It could have could be a game that came out. You know, I mean, comparing Link to the Past to Link Between Worlds, there's really not that big of a difference in the graphics.
Right.
I mean, yeah, Link Between Worlds has a little bit more shading going on.
Yeah, a little bit more
But
3D effects.
overall, they're both really good-looking games. And I think that Kirby's Epic Yarn and Yoshi's Woolly World are going to hold up. I think the graphics in those games are going to hold up for the rest of the time because it's such a unique graphic choice. And it just looks awesome and adorable.
Yeah.
And it's a crazy addictive.
Nice.
Because, I mean, you got to get all the flowers. And the really fun part about the game is that you actually... you collect these little spools of yarn that build into different Yoshis.
Oh, cool.
So there's like a cow Yoshi. He's my favorite to play with because I think he looks awesome. But there's like a fire Yoshi and a desert Yoshi, and like you actually have to find the pieces of yarn in the level to build the Yoshi, and it's crazy addictive.
That's cool.
So it's been a lot of fun, and then you get the star levels, and you get like silver Yoshis and gold Yoshis and platinum Yoshis. And anyway, it's really cool. I think it was I waited to buy it for this Thanksgiving week to play it. And
so you could have some time.
Yeah. It's been I know everybody's been super excited about Fallout 4. Oh, Fallout 4 is the best game. I'm really, really stoked about Yoshi's Woolly World. I think it's a great game, and I mean, it's not going to win Game of the Year.
Right.
Because it's not that type of game. I mean, nobody's going to pay attention to it.
But it's a good, solid Nintendo game.
That's a fun game for anybody to play. I mean, my son's having a lot of fun playing it, but I'm having a crap ton of fun playing it.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
I think it is a lot of fun.
Speaking of Nintendo, they had their conference.
Yes.
And we learned that they're making an HD remake.
Twilight Princess. Which is awesome.
Wii U, which I'm excited for. And I guess it's coming with a
Amiibo for Midna.
Wolf Link and Midna.
Yeah, together.
So that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
And then they also...
I've never really been into the whole Amiibo thing, but I bought the Yoshi's Woolly World that came with the actual yarn. He's made of yarn Yoshi, and then I bought the blue yarn Yoshi.
Yeah.
And I'm debating about buying the pink yarn Yoshi, and I'm kind of like, I could see getting into Amiibo.
Well, that's kind of where I'm torn. It's kind of like with the Disney Infinity stuff too. Skylanders not so much, but because they've got some really cool stylized.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, the Darth Vader one.
Cool. He's awesome.
Looks really awesome.
Yeah.
I love the poses.
I got my Loot Crate they came yesterday.
Oh, nice.
And it had I love Loot Crate. I mean,
I need to
it's
get on
my
that.
only
I need to get on that.
like indulgence that I do for myself, but $13 a month. I don't play WoW anymore, so I justify it. It came with. Have you seen the Blizzard Cute but Deadly figures?
Yeah.
I got Arthas.
Oh, nice.
And he is so freaking awesome because he's got a mini Frostmourne, and it's like he's so awesome.
That's cool. So Riley1 says, wait, they're trying to make another movie off of a popular game. Yep.
What one?
Well, we were talking about Warcraft. Is that what you're thinking of?
Warcraft is...
There's a few that are going to be coming out soon. I know an Assassin's Creed movie's coming out with Fassbender.
I'm excited about that one, though.
I think it'll be good. I think so, too.
What's the other one that I'm excited about? There was talk of the Zelda movie, but I think they debunked that.
That was a while ago. I think we talked about that on our show a little bit, about kind of what we wanted to see. That was the series.
That was the series.
When there was the rumor about the series.
Yeah, there was the series.
Yeah, that's right.
What's the other movie coming out next year that I'm excited about? I don't remember. There's not a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, Star Wars is coming out next month. I'm excited for that.
Are you?
Are you not? Why not?
I'm excited.
I'm excited for it.
I am. It's J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go opening night because I'm not going to subject myself to that. I did that for the Harry Potter movies. I went and got in line, and I did all that for Harry Potter. I had a buddy up in
Boise that I'd always go to Harry Potter with.
Riley1's leaving. Oh, we'll miss you, Riley1. Good luck with your internet.
Yep, good luck. And happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. We're thankful for Riley1.
We are thankful for Riley1. We're thankful for all our followers.
Yeah.
Hopefully some of them will show up tonight.
I hope
but,
so.
I mean, we have kind of been bad to you guys. We haven't been on.
We haven't been very consistent, guys. We're sorry.
Apologize.
I think we've got some exciting stuff in store, though.
A lot of stuff.
Once we get rolling.
Have you been working on yours?
I have.
I've been working on mine, and, like, mind-blowing.
Nice.
Like actually sitting down and putting it together and thinking about it, really mind blowing how much it's affected.
You know, and that's kind of what I approached.
Yes.
This with.
Well, the title for our show, you didn't.
I didn't see. What did you title it?
Witcher 3 and Parenting.
Nice. I love it because I had a lot of kind of emotional reactions to this game.
It's a very
emotional
game.
I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
And especially considering since I put it off for so long, because I bought it when it came out, started playing it, and then I got distracted by other games, and I was like, I need to go back and finish that game. And once I did, all of a sudden, it just like, boom, it like hit me full on. I was like, this is an amazing game.
I think of the 3 game. Well, the first game, I kind of feel like it was a tech demo.
Yeah.
It's like it's not really
first
a full
game's
game.
kind of, yeah.
The second game, I just thought it was way too political. This game so far, I haven't finished it yet, but it is amazing. I think it's amazing. Let's start.
Okay.
Oh no!
It's all right. Let's
there
do
we go.
this. Okay, so I actually need to get
The Witcher 3 Wild
into our
Cards.
media.
Oh, because we're watching.
We're gonna watch.
We're watching you play.
So yeah, I did some game capture of the game.
Nice.
Let's see which one was it. I wanted to do this one.
Right away until we kick off.
Check it out.
It's just us. So wait, you're here with Yennefer.
Oh wait a minute.
So this is towards
Yeah,
the
this is
beginning
right
of
at the
game.
end.
Oh, this is at the end.
Yeah.
So you go.
Shoot.
Okay.
I feel like it didn't record what I wanted it to.
What's the other one?
That was what I was playing that yesterday. So this is you've seen this stuff.
Yeah, I have.
Anyway, well we can let it play. This is some good storytelling here, I think.
This is Johnny.
Yeah. So this is Johnny. So this is during the.
And he's a godling.
Yes. And this, this is going on during the Crones, the Ladies of the Woods.
Okay, so let's talk about them for a minute.
Okay. They're creepy.
Creepy is.
They're creepy.
Even their painting, where they are
That
somewhat
scene,
subjective.
When I
they
first
look
played
kinda...
that, back when I first got the game, I played through that part, and I just remember watching that cutscene where he's in front of the painting, and the lady's talking through the painting, being possessed. It creeped me out. It really creeped me out. I was like, this
creepy.
is like the music and everything. I was like, this is a really well done scene.
Yeah.
And like
we're gonna see it.
Yeah, we'll see it.
Okay, so I don't know. Maybe I was distracted or something. I did not get that the grandma that all the orphans talk about as grandma was the wife
of the Baron.
Yeah, I didn't pick that up.
Well, that's why it's good storytelling because I didn't either until you start connecting the threads, and like you don't realize that the Bloody Baron quest line and the Ladies of the Wood quest line are connected.
Well, and not only that, but the little girl, she talks about my daddy told me to follow the treats and everything. Is like, okay, that's kind of weird. It's like, what was going on there? And then you find out it's all related to these Ladies of the Wood, and then you have to go kill that tree thing, and I just was the whole time I was just watching it saying, wow.
And that's one of the first things I want to talk about with how impressed I am with this game.
I love this line though. Defecating to the sunrise.
Glorious.
I thought it was like someone had fun writing that line.
Oh yeah.
He's creepy looking.
He is.
Does he come back?
He does.
Because
a little bit.
The girl, there's a girl version of him.
Sarah, that you find in Novigrad. She's haunting the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that whole thing too.
Yeah, so that was really cool.
I guess the thing that's kind of really hit me is everybody wants Geralt to go do things for them. So it is really just a big fetch quest.
It is, but it doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't because you're given these really, really interesting characters to interact
everything.
with.
Yeah, and everything that opens up, all these quests that open, they're like a mini
story in themselves.
Like they're so narratively well done that you get invested in them and you want to see them through to the end.
The game. I mean, his whole quest is to find Ciri.
Yes.
But it kind of is like a really well done anthology of short stories, where it's like you're progressing and you're trying to find out more about Ciri. I do have kind of a complaint is like anytime they do a flashback, you see the character kind of like, it's weird. The way it does that is like, really?
Yeah, it's almost like the weird dream sequence.
Yeah, it's like that's a bit corny.
Yeah.
But I do like that you actually get to play as Ciri instead of just listening to the guys talk about them. Because I mean, this is he's been talking the whole time we've been talking. It's a lot of exposition. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, but they...
Not that I cared, because he was interesting enough that I was engaged.
Yeah.
But it is kind of weird for an action game to have, like, a big 15-minute dialogues.
Yes, and all these dialogue choices that you can make.
Well, and I want to know how much of a difference those dialogue choices make in the end. I mean, because I know there's multiple endings.
Right. So there's 3 main endings.
Okay.
Based around Ciri and Geralt.
Okay.
And then there's obviously the romance endings. There's 3 possible of those between Triss and Yennefer.
Okay.
And then a third option where if you try to get them both, it blows up in your face, which is pretty funny. But they put that in there.
Yeah.
You know. And then there's a bunch of other minor character endings. So like there's one with the Bloody Baron. There's a mid-game ending to his story, you know. But then towards the end of the game,
finally, because when I left him off, I kind of felt like that was the end of his quest line. Do we go back to see if he restores his wife at all?
Well, see, the one I did, I released the spirit that was in the tree. That was the choice I made.
Okay.
And because of that, the crones cursed his wife and turned her into a water hag. And Geralt reversed the curse on her, but she dies in the process. And then the Baron hangs himself.
So that's fun, because that's not what happened in my playthrough.
Yeah, so yours killed the spirit.
Yes.
And then, but the old lady went crazy.
Dragon Craze!
Yay, Dragon Craze is here!
Holla, Dragon Craze! Missed you.
We did. Yeah, and so the Baron basically was going to try to help bring her back from insanity. And that's the end of their story. This is what he's stuck with because of the choices he made. You know, this is his life now.
He was a really interesting character. They all 3 were.
Yeah, and what I liked about it is he was a despicable character. But at the same time...
He wasn't, though. I didn't like...
He wasn't a pure villain.
No, he wasn't.
Like, he was actually very likable. Seeing how he interacted with Ciri and what he did, you know, how, you know, that was really neat.
Well, and even taking in, what was the girl's name? The little girl's name. Rotit or something.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember right
anyway,
now.
Taking her in and giving her a home and stuff, because, I mean, he obviously knew what the father was trying to do when he sent her out into the woods. And he was willing to say, you know what, you don't have to go home, you can stay here. Mm-hmm. I think, and that's another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about here. So there she is.
Yeah.
She's a lot older than I thought she was going to be when I realized who she was.
Yeah.
Considering she just had a miscarriage, he's kind of like, well, you're a little bit old
for
a miscarriage. But that was one of the things, like these choices of war, even with Triss and with the other girl, that's the Kira
Metz.
You know, in Witcher 2, they had positions of power and they were really respected.
And now
people.
Triss is having to hide out because of the witch hunters.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's kind of leading this underground, trying to get the mages out of the city, which is a really cool quest.
It is, yeah, it is really cool. But the thing that I was really drawn to was this idea of, okay, what does war do to people? Mm-hmm. Because I don't think the Baron was a bad guy.
No.
And he went to war, and he was, you know, lonely, and he was killing people and everything. He got addicted to drinking, and that came home and completely destroyed his whole life. Was it really his fault? Yeah, he shouldn't have hit his wife. Yes, he shouldn't have. She shouldn't have had the affair.
Right.
He shouldn't. I mean, there was a lot of he shouldn't and she shouldn't, and all of that. And in my ending that I saw to their quest line to this, I was really relieved somewhat that he was willing to take responsibility for her in her distressed state, because I think it's shown, you know, that he grew, and kind of they kind of reverted back to that pre-war relationship that they had. That's kind of alluded to anyway.
Well, and that's what I'm really impressed with this game in particular. So so here's the
okay. So does she have 4 legs?
Yeah, she's got like growths. Like when you see her as the crone.
No, I got that. I got that.
Yeah, so it's like they're growing out of her stomach or something.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's creepy. It's creepy.
It's creepy.
But that's what I like about the storytelling in this, is it presents these characters, and nobody in these worlds are purely good characters or purely evil characters. Like, that's too simplistic of a way to define people, you know?
Yeah.
And this game really takes a middle line, takes that gray approach that, you know,
Dragon
nobody's
Craze
perfect.
Left. Where'd he go?
Come on, Dragon Craze.
Well, I'm wondering if our...
Are we having trouble?
Yeah, because we got a 36% drop frame rate. I don't know. Now it's going down. I'm gonna make a tweak really quick.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. I have it all set right. I don't know why it's doing that. OBS has been giving me crap lately, though, and sort it out later.
Okay.
But yeah, back to what you were saying.
Yeah, so, you know, it gives you these characters who are very gray, which is a lot like life. Like, nobody's purely evil, nobody's purely good. We're all trying the best we can in the circumstances we're given.
Yeah.
Sometimes we make terrible choices, and we have to deal with the fallout of it. And that's what I like about this game is, like, the choices you make, you never quite know how they're going to play out. You don't know what the good choice is. You don't know what the bad choice is. You just make your best assumption about it.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's very...
Even looking at your experience with this quest line and my experience with it...
they're completely different.
Very, very different. As a side note, I cannot wait for you to get your Christmas present. It's so awesome.
I can't wait to get it.
I gotta notice it, like, because he's custom making them.
Oh, nice.
There's two. So they are. He said he finished the one. He's working on the second one now. I really hope they get here before Christmas.
Nice.
They are freaking awesome, dude.
Well,
You're gonna crap.
I think my gift to you is gonna be chump change.
No, I don't think so.
But I think you'll like it.
I'm just really excited to give these to you because I found them like back in August.
Oh, nice.
I was like, I placed the order for them back then because I was like, I really want these to be finished.
That's cool.
They are really snazzy. Well, hopefully you like. Maybe you won't like them. Then they come in. I think you'll like them. Back to this.
Yeah. So you know, what I like about this is they present it to you. Like, okay.
This is so creepy. The whole setting is really creepy.
Oh yeah.
And Gerald is just like, oh, this is just another day.
This is like great, whatever.
Great,
You
whatever.
know, and that's one of the things that really draws me to this game is the mythology of this game. It's not what we're used to with typical fantasy fare.
Yeah.
We're used to dragons, we're used to elves, you know, and all these things that we're used to the Tolkien style.
Yeah, and instead
fantasy.
of this one, we get.
But this is a very Polish, Eastern European.
Oh yeah, very much. So.
You know, view on mythology, and it's very darker. It's a lot like Grimm's fairy tales as they were originally told. You know, these things, there's these ancient evils that exist in the world, and it's kind of creepy, and it creates this dark brushstroke of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
To where a lot of the times playing this game, I just have this creeped out feeling kind of in my gut, you know, that almost like kind of disturbed at what I was seeing.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, and I like that approach to it. You know, it's not something I'm used to because you know, I'm not a stranger to what fantasy has to offer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But with this, it feels fresh. It feels
well, and I think
unique.
it's because Gerald is such a I mean, he's kind of like a non-silent protagonist.
Yes.
Right? It's very easy for us to see ourselves as him. Which automatically draws us into this world. And if you've played 1 and you've played 2 and you've seen that progression, right? Because this game is taking place many years after 2.
Yeah.
I mean, does it tell us an exact time? It feels like it's 10 years or so.
I don't think it's quite that long. I think it's more like a year to 2 years.
Really?
I think so.
I thought more time had passed. Because he looks visibly older.
He does, but I don't know. It might be. I'll have to look more into that about what the actual time frame is.
He looks
he looks
older,
worn.
Yeah,
he looks worn out. You know, but I like that you say that he's kind of a silent.
He's a non-silent, silent.
Yeah, but what's cool about that is
he's like Link if Link spoke.
Yeah, yeah. But what's really cool about it, and a lot of people have complained that he's your typical gruff hero. You know, like
I
the
don't
Batman
think
type. But he's not. He actually has a lot of emotion that you see. He just reserves it for people that he cares about.
Exactly. You know, particularly in the interactions with Yennefer, with Ciri, a little bit with Triss. Like that first reunion with Triss, you can tell he's noticeably on edge.
Yeah.
While you're playing, he's like, I didn't know if this was going to be a good reunion.
And that's interesting because at the end of Witcher 2, they're together.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then this game starts, they're not together, and it's because she says to her, if you pursue the option with Triss, at the end she says, you were getting your memory back. You remembered Yennefer. You remembered that she was running from the Wild Hunt. You went to find her. I had to step back from that and let you pursue that. It was, it's fair to you that I do that. And so she kind of had to, because she loves him, but she had to put those blocks in place to allow him to do what he needed to do.
Yeah.
Well,
and I even think,
cool.
The opening scene with Yennefer, where she's like, oh, you could say because you didn't have your memories and she didn't mean anything to you and like all of this. It's kind of like there is a very big theme in this game about the consequence of choices, regardless of why you chose it.
Right.
Like they don't give a crap about why the Baron's wife, who we're seeing here, would rather live a slave to these really ugly, and I mean ugly in
they're grotesque.
Yeah, grotesque term, these witches, I don't even know what otherworldly beings, than be with her husband. That's pretty dark. That you would rather give yourself up to these nasties than be with your husband who, I mean, I don't know, I got the sense that the Baron really does care for her.
He does, yeah.
And I think he cares for his daughter, which kind of brings us back to our whole theme of parenting. We've got these foils in Geralt and Ciri are the main characters that we really care about, right?
Right.
Yeah, and Ciri is his adopted daughter.
Yes.
But of all of the parents that we encounter in this game, and that we see their storylines play out, it could be said that Geralt's really the true father of the game. I mean, he's the one that's like, that's the father I want to be to my daughters.
Yeah. He's a fantastic father.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I love it. Okay, it looks like that's the end of our... I don't know why it recorded so weird. So we can watch a little bit of this. Because this goes into the ending and then we'll play the end sequence.
But even with, the whole, the Emperor Emry, or what is his name? Emhyr. Ciri's actually his daughter.
Yes.
Like, legit daughter. And he's like, yeah, I don't give a shit about her. It's all political.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have the Baron and his daughter, and his daughter's like, I found religion, the Church of the Eternal Flame has heated my passion and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just sitting there listening to it saying, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Fire. And I love that line from Geralt where he's like, fire is a tricky thing, It's really easy to get burned. And you can see, like, at least in the ending that I got with her mom, where so the Baron and his daughter are there together with the mom. She really doesn't want her dad to touch her mom. And yet he sees, Geralt's a key player in it. But, it's just a really interesting dynamic to see that play out when... The truth of the whole story is that Geralt really, really just wants to find Ciri and make sure she's okay and save her from the Wild Hunt.
There's a fantastic scene in this game that I don't want to spoil for you towards the end. That is it's a very emotional scene for Geralt, and I like that you see him portrayed in that light, because it shows how vulnerable he actually is when it comes to these people that he cares about.
Right.
But there's this one scene in particular that is really, really touching. And you almost feel, I don't know, I don't want to say too much about it because I want you to experience it for yourself. It's not in this playthrough or anything like that, so it happened towards the end of Act 2. But it's really
I think
cool.
this would be a fun game to do an entire playthrough of.
I think it would.
I would like to play through all three.
Yeah.
And talk about the different, because the three games have a very different feel.
Yes.
And they have very different themes, and of all of them, this one seems, it's gonna sound weird because they're all mature, but this one seems the most mature in what it's dealing with the darkness and the despair that it deals with.
Yeah. Well, and it's mature in the sense. A lot of games are mature because they show boobs and they swear a lot and there's blood. I mean, this game, There's sex in it.
She's beautiful, by the way.
She is. She's very beautiful.
Just beautiful hair.
But this one actually feels like a true mature game in the sense that The Last of Us feels mature.
Yeah.
Is that the storytelling is mature. It's not just these things thrown in there to get a mature rating.
Yeah.
You know, this is mature storytelling. This is dealing with real relationships between people.
Yeah.
And the fallout from all of that. And you don't see that a lot in video games. I'd like to see it more.
I would too. Well, and I think that's what sets these games apart is they're not afraid, and this is what I had hoped. I had hoped that Arkham Knight would be this way.
Yes.
You know, that it would not be afraid to go into these dark areas, and I don't mean dark as in like, yeah, Batman seeing Joker, and there's all sorts of crazy sauce going on there. But these mature themes of parenthood and loss and mortality, so to speak. And I think one of the most interesting things about this game is that everybody in the world always says to Geralt, "Oh, you don't feel anything, you know, because your mutations.
Well, and
your mutations have stripped you of your humanity." And he's constantly proving to be the most human of everybody in the game.
And that's one thing that's really interesting that makes Geralt a unique character, even compared with other Witchers in the established lore, because the mutations they go through supposedly strips them of emotion.
Yeah.
So that they can remain neutral in the world that they possess. They're not supposed to take political sides, yet Geralt does that constantly. But like just seeing how he interacts with Ciri, how he interacts with Triss, how he interacts with Yennefer, Dandelion, Zoltan, you know, these friends of his, you see that he's not a typical Witcher, even in the Witcher sense. He has some type of emotion there.
Yeah.
And you can't quite explain it because he's got
even the decision to take on Ciri as his adopted daughter and his ward is kind of like, I mean, even Vesemir's kind of like, yeah, you kind of overstepped your bounds on that one.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, what are you doing there?
Yep.
And there she is.
And she's a fantastic character.
She is.
She's incredible.
It's a complete. That's a different day.
That's a complete. Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
If we want to talk about women in games.
Talk about Ciri.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting to me how much they look alike, even though they're adoptive. You know, I mean,
they both have the white hair.
They both have the scar on the eye. They've got the white hair. They're very interesting characters.
Mm-hmm. But I love their interactions.
I have no idea what's going on here.
So basically, you defeated the Wild Hunt, and then this elf that's here, he used to be part of the Wild Hunt.
All right.
And so the Wild Hunt is after Ciri because there's an apocalypse coming to their world, and they want to use her blood to stop it because it's all it can. And
they're using her blood because she's a descendant of the Elder Blood or something.
Yeah, a descendant of one of the elves. You know, and so basically Geralt, you know, he's a father. He wants to protect her from the Wild Hunt because obviously. So here they defeat the Wild Hunt. And then the king of the Wild Hunt, as you're killing him, he says that Avallac'h, this elf, played them both, turned them against each other to distract them from what he wants to do with Ciri. And so then you and Yennefer take off after them, you know, to find out what's going on. And so Geralt still isn't sure. So what we just saw, he walks in with his sword drawn. He's ready to fight the elf. And the elf says, no, you know, I'm not your enemy. This was her choice. And then Ciri comes out and starts talking to him, saying that, yeah, it's her choice. She's going to fight the White Frost, which is coming. And it's going to destroy all worlds. And because she is, they call it the Lady of Time and Space, because she has this power to go...
Which is basically a Time Lord.
Yeah, she's a Time Lord, basically. You know, she says, I've seen these destroyed worlds before.
I mean, she has a TARDIS. I loved how, like, when they're in the cave, following the elf, and they keep seeing him pop up and everything, he's, like, giving her these riddles.
Yeah.
And Geralt's so like, oh, yeah, Swallow, because that's the name of her sword. That's what she named her horse. And I'm like, that's so, it's funny, because who else is going to know that stuff about her?
Yeah.
Besides him. I thought it was so funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so now she's stepping through the portal to go take on this White Frost, and it never shows
she's a badass.
How she does it, you know. But it's cool because it does this quick flashback here of all the choices you made regarding Ciri throughout the game, and that determines her outcome. Like what happens to her if she survives her encounter with the White Frost, all of that.
Wait, there's an ending where she dies?
Yes.
Interesting. So Dragon Craze just popped in to say hey, and then he left.
Oh, Dragon Craze, come back.
I'm just gonna say, I know no one's listening, but we're not doing a show on Thursday.
No.
But we will next Tuesday.
Yep.
And we will probably be talking about The Witcher 3 again, because I'm not done with it.
Yeah, so these are all choices you make during the gameplay.
When you finally catch up with her.
Yes. I think that's one of my favorite scenes in the game, where it shows Geralt as kind of playful, kind of mischievous a little bit. Like,
right.
It's interesting because he's so stoic.
Yeah.
Except with Ciri, and it's kind of like the whole thing where she's got him wrapped around her finger.
Oh, very much.
She's his daughter.
Well, him and it's her cool. And Yennefer both.
Yeah, Yennefer.
They both have him like whatever you want.
And and that's a different topic itself as to why I chose Triss over Yennefer.
You chose Triss?
I did. I love Triss. I like Triss a lot better than Yennefer. Yennefer.
She does have flaming red hair.
Yennefer seemed more like, and I know it can be argued that she's a perfect match for Geralt because of this, but it's almost like she treats Geralt as her pet rather than.
Yeah, but I think he likes that.
I think he does too, but at the same time, like, I've had more interaction with Triss through the other games that I've grown to really like her. Yeah. You know what I mean? We don't really know it. This is the first time we've seen her in this game, and when she first shows up, she's kind of
a little bit.
But that's a different topic. So yeah, so that's kind of the last you see of
Ciri.
And then he goes and meets with the Emperor and talks with the Emperor a little bit. And we'll see
so
that.
What
and
happened?
then we'll go through and we'll play that epilogue and you'll see what happens.
I will say this, they did keep the same kind of story mechanism as Witcher 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because Witcher 2 starts out with him being interrogated.
Yes.
And like kind of the same thing happens here.
Well, and that was kind of a cool way of keeping it consistent between games, because that interrogation you sit through at the beginning of this game kind of it's kind of like importing a save, but not, because obviously it's a PlayStation 4 game.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, they ask you about the choices you made in the second game.
I love this guy. I love this guy.
Yeah, he's fun.
He's so awesome.
I like when he's talking about the lice in his beard.
Yeah. I love how, like, when the first time you meet him, he's like, we don't have enough time for you to go through all the grooming things you need to.
Well, and I like when he gives you back your armor and stuff. Garrett's like, it stinks.
Yeah.
He's like, no, it's cloves and
it'll make your stuff smell fresher longer.
It's just funny.
I love that line when he's talking to the Emperor the first time, and he bows.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't want to disappoint the Chamberlain. We've kind of become friends.
Yeah.
Like,
Geralt's kind of funny.
He is hilarious. I think
he's very stone-faced, but he has a really dry humor to him, to where I actually really like Geralt.
I do too.
I think he's a really cool character.
And his voice actor, they got the best. Yeah. I mean, he's awesome.
He's fantastic. I mean, there's a quest line in here where you have to help Dandelion's girlfriend write a play, and then you star in the play, and so it's like him up there trying to act, but he's not an actor, It's funny. I mean, It's these funny little scenes.
I think that's the thing I like about him is he does. I mean, the reason why I'm so drawn to this game is because I don't mind spending time with Geralt.
Yeah.
He's a very fascinating character. I want to know more about him.
When we were talking earlier about how. So the voice actor for the Emperor is Stannis, or not Stannis, Lannister from Game of Thrones, the
really?
father.
Yeah.
That's good casting.
Awesome. Yeah, great casting.
love the portrait of Ciri he has in here where she's younger, but she's in like the dress and stuff. Just the look on her face, how pissed off she is to be in that dress. Like it's funny.
Yeah. And then him's like, I never wish to see you ever again.
Yeah.
It's a very well crafted world. I mean, and anytime I think that you have an established lore to draw from, you're gonna get kind of a deeper.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because the books are amazing. I've only read the first 2.
I want to read them. I want to check them out, especially after playing this game and how much of a reaction I had to this game. You know, I want to go back and read. I want to read the books.
But this game just feels. I'm not knocking Skyrim at all. I think Skyrim was.
I was
just
going to bring
game.
up Skyrim actually.
Skyrim did not draw me in or have the emotional depth of this game.
No, and that's exactly what I was going to say. The characters in this game you feel drawn to. You want to know more about them. Skyrim, they're just. I never finished
the main quest.
Yeah, and I don't
care about Parthenax.
And I was happy going through towns just murdering everybody because I didn't care. They have no weight to anything. But characters in this game, you think about even people you're cutting down. Like you think about what that means. How does that weigh on you? You know. Yeah, I was exactly going to bring up that exact point. You know, Skyrim's a fantastic game and it's so easy to get lost in, and I think that's why I'm having trouble with Fallout 4 because it's similar worlds. I just don't care about all these characters.
Yeah.
Coming off of The Witcher 3, I cared about all these characters. Okay, so this is where we'll pick up.
You ready? The epilogue now.
Yeah, you want to do it?
Yeah. Sure, why not? We don't have anybody watching.
Jerks. Yeah, but and I think what's really cool about this game is it's open world, but it doesn't feel open world. It doesn't have the weirdness. I mean, it has weird mechanics and stuff in it, and video game logic in some places.
And I guess my question to you is, how linear is it?
It's fairly linear.
Okay, because I mean, I'm not playing the game. I'm watching it,
right?
So I don't have an idea of how.
There's a lot of side quests and stuff.
But
there's your main quests. Then I'll show you when we bring it up here.
Okay.
But there's your main quests, and then there's secondary quests. Then your Witcher contracts.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about the Hearts of Stone a little bit later because that was a fantastic standalone story.
What is that on his? What's on the side of his face?
It's part of the Hearts of Stone expansion. It's pretty awesome. It's basically a telling of Faust and the Devil.
Nice.
It's really cool.
Love it. I love the cutscene artwork.
It's really cool. And I really, in thinking back now, I really liked it in Witcher 2.
Yeah.
Those storyboard type things that they did. One thing that I find hilarious about this game is your horse. It's the dumbest horse in video games I've ever seen. It's kind of funny.
Why do you say that?
Maddenly frustrating. Well, it gets stuck on weird things like grass.
Right on.
And then, like, when you're off doing something and you call it, it always shows up, like, out of reach.
So
like, it's, like, up on a rocky outcrop that you can't get to.
Yeah.
And just funny things like that.
So this hadn't dawned on me until just now. But I feel like this game is very...
See, there you go.
Similar in some aspects to Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, it feels a lot like Red Dead. And that's kind of...
It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, because that game was open world, but it doesn't feel like open world. It feels like a very narratively driven game.
Well, and that game was beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean...
I've actually thought a lot about Red Dead in terms of the horse. I wish the horse was as well implemented as they were in Red Dead. I think my favorite thing in Red Dead is when you call the horse, how you can, like, jump on it as it's running and, like, not lose momentum.
I think Red Dead is one of the games on my list. You know that list that we're working on? Red Dead. It hit me at a very interesting time in my life.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. And I love how, we got this in Skyrim, but the main thing that I loved about The Witcher 2 and all of that, was that we didn't really get a lot of history. It wasn't like we went to these ruins and all of a sudden we know exactly what's going on with the ruins and everything. There's an established, something's going on. This is a war-ravaged country, and we see it everywhere we go.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of discovering things, kind of similar to Dark Souls. Dark Souls doesn't really have a whole lot of...
It doesn't tell you what's going on.
You've got to find it. And I kind of feel like this is the same with like the setting and everything. It's very rewarding.
And it can be overwhelming at times. Like with the wars and everything going on, it's kind of hard to keep track of everything that's going on and get a real good sense of it. Even Ciri and her background and where she comes from. I mean, it can be kind of confusing. I just like the haircut I gave him.
It's nice.
What inscription do you want?
Well, that's Ciri's sword's name.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give it that.
I love the animations for his sword fighting too. I really like it. It's really cool.
Your payment. Gems only, as requested. Gems only, as requested.
If you've an eye out for work, heard a striggers prowling the Maribor Forest.
Yes. Need to visit the tavern first, but after.
Good luck in the path, Witcher.
Good luck in the path, Witcher.
Did he sheath it? What did he do with his other sword?
He put it in his magical pouch where everything else goes.
Okay. But did he sheath his new sword?
No.
Where's his new sword?
It's in his pouch.
Okay.
Everything else.
All right. I just was confused. It is a beautiful game too. Although I will say it's prettier on PC.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I mean, everything's prettier on PC.
Well, of course it is. I am part of the PC master race, So, what are you doing? What are we trying to...
Okay, so I had to stop and pick up that sword, but he said he's got to go meet someone at a tavern. And he also told the Emperor that he had someone to meet.
Is it Triss? We don't know who it is. Do you know who
I know
it is?
Who it is.
Well, you've played through it.
Yeah, I played through it.
So I want to just talk about a little bit about the parenting theme in this.
Sure.
And except there's a cutscene, and I obviously can't talk during a cutscene.
These guys. So the scene that I really like involves these dwarves.
Really?
The really emotional scene.
Interesting.
So you run into them earlier in the game, and they're basically the 7 dwarves. That guy just sneezed.
Oh, yeah.
There's one who suffers from narcolepsy.
Nice.
So they're pretty. It's a good scene, but it involves them, not to a big extent, but they're in it.
Interesting. So as I'm watching this game, I've got my little 1-year-old on my lap who has tonsillitis. So she's just sitting there whimpering because her throat hurts. And it was really interesting to be watching this. Because they really do kind of beat you over the head whenever you talk to anybody about how emotionless Witchers are.
Yeah.
And to see him going through all of the putting up with everybody's bullshit of, well, I'm not going to tell you anything until you do this for me. And it seems like everybody says that.
And
he's
chomping at the bit to find it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, the only reason I'm gonna help you is because you may have a little bit of help.
And I'll do anything.
And he got so pissed at the guard. Can't remember his name. The black one at the very beginning. You know the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah. In the tavern.
Yeah. No, not in the tavern. Well, yeah.
In White Orchard.
In White Orchard, yeah.
Vesemir.
Vesemir.
Yeah.
And they killed the griffin.
Yes.
He's like, seriously, she's a day's ride from me. You couldn't have said
Okay, yeah.
anything.
The guy who was in that fort we just visited.
Yeah. Yes. He's just like, really, come on, guy.
Yeah.
Seriously.
He's like,
and you
kind
can
of,
see
kind of
like,
a dick move.
Yeah. He was like, if I didn't, I would kill you if I didn't, couldn't restrain myself. But it's just so fascinating to me to see that Geralt is willing to go to literally the ends of the world to find Ciri.
Yeah.
And take on the Wild Hunt. Which, I mean, the whole time you're playing the game, the Wild Hunt's like, we've got to run. We have to run from the Wild Hunt. We can't take them on.
Nobody goes against them.
Yeah. And even in the tavern where you're there with Kira.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, right. I'm not teleporting over there. We should leave. This is not something we're going to do. And he's like, I'm doing it with or without you.
Yeah.
And then she gets that stupid magic lamp, which, what did it do anyway? Oh, anyway.
It has a side quest.
Does it really?
Yeah. Part of her story.
Interesting. I didn't see it. But, I just love how he's like so, and everybody takes it like so seriously.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see, because even the Baron isn't really that interested in saving his daughter. He really just wants his wife back.
Yes.
It's like, I could care less about what you do. Honestly. Oh, great. You hooked up with the church. Great. Good for you. I want my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Where Geralt really... I mean, yeah, he's interested in Yennefer and he's interested in Triss. But at the end of the day, he doesn't care what's going on with them.
And that's one thing that I was struck with, because the other Witcher games, they focused a lot on his romantic relationships.
Yeah,
this one,
did.
it's there, and it has impact.
And then there's that whole joke about the unicorn.
Yeah, which is weird.
The stuffed unicorn.
There's a part in Hearts of Stone where you go into a treasury and there's a stuffed unicorn in there. And Geralt mentioned, like, when you examine it, he's like, oh, I've seen one of these before. And he's like, must be some sort of sorceress fetish or something. It's funny.
Interesting. You're so altruistic, Colt.
I am. That's funny.
It's funny. And he's so deadpan about it all. I think it's hilarious.
Alright.
Dwarf.
Go on your way, dwarves.
Something ends and something begins.
Let's see where the horse shows up. Oh, it showed up in a nice spot, actually. It's a magic horse, too. I can swim across this huge lake and whistle for him, even though I left him on the opposite bank, and then he's just there. He comes running out of the trees.
I loved how, at the horse race, they say something that's like, yeah, this is the best horse ever, and he's like, yeah, I don't really care much for horses. Every horse has been a roach to me.
Yeah.
And so, every horse you find is named Roach.
Yep. It's awesome.
It's hilarious. And I think that's the thing that I really like about him. Like I said, he's a silent protagonist.
Yeah.
He has a lot of personality, but that personality doesn't get in the way of you seeing yourself as him.
Imprinting on it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of cool about, and I think it ties into the lore of the Witchers themselves, is that by playing a Witcher who supposedly doesn't have emotion, it allows you to imprint on this silent protagonist trope.
Yeah.
You know, and it also goes, and I was going to say that, you know, just real quick before we trigger this scene, that because you're playing as a Witcher and his job is to take on these contracts and stuff like that, it's kind of a genius way from a gameplay standpoint to make it seem realistic as to why he's doing all these
Yeah.
jobs for people.
Yeah.
You know, in other video, like even Legend of Zelda, you're like, why am I doing this stuff?
Yeah.
Like, who does this?
Yeah.
You know, who goes and picks up chickens and throws them in a pen just to
do it.
do it? You know,
Yeah.
but in this, it makes sense because that's what a Witcher's job is. He takes on these jobs, these contracts. You know, and it's kind of a cool way
and
to.
it's kind of cool because he's an outsider.
Yes.
And we're outsiders. And while he has his own established lore that we get bits and pieces of and everything like that, is like, it's still a really cool way for us to see the world because he's outside of it, but knows enough that he can educate us as we go.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the way they've done that.
Yeah, they've done a good job with it.
They have. And of the 3 games, I think this is the best one.
I do too.
I would still play the first 2. Excuse me.
I really like Witcher 2. I think it's a really great game. I actually went out and rebought it after I finished this game because I was like, you know.
And it's such a, I mean, it's a very fascinating political game.
It is.
But that was my main issue with it, was I felt like it focused way too much on the politics, and we didn't get enough of the lore. We didn't get enough of what was going on. And you know, Wild Hunt is such a great title for this game because that's all it is. All this game is about is exploring this really dark, magical world, with all of the consequences of living in a world like this, where we didn't really get that in Witcher 2.
Right. What I kind of took away from The Witcher 2 is that was still when he was still suffering from amnesia.
Yeah.
And so I took Witcher 2 as him trying to regain his memories. And yeah, it took a very political swerve, but at the same time, it kind of made sense in that, you know, where he doesn't really have memories, and so he's just chasing anything down he possibly can to regain those memories.
Yeah.
And so I think it works, you know.
I do too. I think it's a great game.
But yeah, compared to this game though, this game's easily the better game.
Well, better. I don't know. It's a deeper game.
Yeah.
It's a deeper game.
Yeah.
I mean, the mechanics of it, I think they've improved a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, hands down, improved from 1.
I mean, the fighting and everything in this is so much
better,
so much improved.
And it's got a much more deeper. And I think a lot of that has to do with the story. And like I said, I wish that Arkham Knight would have had the balls to do something like this.
Yeah.
You know,
and
because even if we forget the whole it's Jason Todd, I would have loved to have seen this dynamic. You know, how is Batman's relationship as Jason Todd's father, or even
he's a father
Damian,
figure to a lot of people.
To a lot of people.
Tim Drake, everybody.
Damian, his own son.
Dick Grayson,
you know, Damian. Well, I mean, he's got so many father roles that they just didn't play on any of that.
No, it shows him as an uncaring jackass in the game.
Well, and there's kind of, you could even make the argument that he's kind of a father figure to Joker. You know, I mean, Joker's always constantly trying to get him, and
I think
it's just, I wish they would have done more with that.
You know what I think I see in it is, in the Arkham Knight specifically, is that Batman is kind of the abusive father figure.
Very much.
Whereas opposed to Geralt, you see a good, caring father who his only goal is to protect.
Well, loving.
Ciri.
And that's the irony of this whole world, is that the only person who seems capable of love
is the emotionless Witcher.
Is the emotionless Witcher that everybody says can't love.
Yeah. That everybody calls a freak and a non-human. And
yeah. Where everybody, I mean, it's just really, really interesting that we... And even with the Baron, it wasn't until Geralt sat down and listened to his side and validated his concerns, you know? Where he's like, well, yeah, there's always 2 sides to the story, so let's hear your story. And then Geralt says, yeah, there was fault on both sides. It was only after this outsider said,
took the time.
I could see how you would feel that way, that he finally said, you know, maybe I still can love my wife. Maybe we were both wrong.
Maybe it's not the end of our story.
Yeah. And I liked that. I didn't see the other side of it. But I really liked that because I thought that kind of, that's what Geralt's doing throughout this whole game, is imparting his ability to love to other people.
Yeah.
And even with Dandelion and all of, like, I don't know, Dandelion's a fascinating character to begin with, because I mean, he's like lying about everything that's going on with him and Geralt. Is like, yeah, I've saved Geralt so many times.
Well, and he's got that big painting in his tavern of him slaying a dragon. He's like, it's the classic, Sir George.
Yeah,
painting
exactly.
Slaying the dragon. Like, it's funny. Like,
it is funny.
Like
but even then, you could tell Geralt cares about him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And because he's willing to go through. Now, yeah, you could make the argument he's only saving Dandelion because he was with Ciri, so he wants to know what.
You can also say that he can live with himself if he had allowed
exactly
Dandelion to get hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it serves.
Yeah.
Two birds with one stone, basically.
Yeah. That scene where he's beating up Whoreson Jr.
That scene was cathartic, because when you walk into that room, you see all the dead women, and
first of all, I'm sitting there like,
Ciri had a run-in with him.
Were the women in the tub dead?
Yeah, they were all dead.
I didn't understand. Like, the one was hanging, and I was like, what is going on in this room? But I realized Rivenet, how do you say his name? Siggy.
Yeah.
Signy. Reneve or whatever.
Yeah, whatever his name is.
Where he's like, or he wasn't even talking to him. I can't remember who he was talking to. Maybe it was the guy within it, the Mason or whatever. Where he's like, Whoreson Jr. always requires a constant supply of new women. And when I heard that line, I was like, okay, so he gets tired of screwing the same girl? All right, whatever.
But no.
And then you walk into that building and you're like, okay, so this guy is psychotic. And then Geralt just beats the crap out of him.
And it's on because you feel his
and
rage,
I love him
because
that
Geralt knows that he had a run-in with Ciri
and wondering what
he's
happened,
worried about Ciri. He knows what this guy's capable of.
And I love that line where he's like, "Listen, this is why you can't lie to me." And then he lies one where he's like, "If you tell me one more line, I'm cutting off your balls."
Yeah.
And it's like, go,
dude. And there's some parts where Geralt's rage comes out where it's it's awesome. Like, it's so amazing how. And I think that's what's. I mean, we could talk about Geralt for a long time about how well done his.
I do want to play through. I want to play through this game.
Okay.
I want to do a full playthrough. I think that's what we do next.
Okay.
Do you want to start with one? I mean, one we could probably do in like 2 nights. It's not a long game.
It's not long. It's been a long time since I played. I don't have it, but we could. And
I can get it.
It's PC only, I think.
I have it.
And then I have Witcher 2, but it's an Xbox 360 game, and it hasn't been made backwards compatible for Xbox One yet.
I have Witcher 2 on my PC too.
Okay, so we can do both those on PC, and then we'll do this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. Well, it is Christmas time.
Okay. Well, that's why we can talk about that stuff behind the scenes. But I like that idea.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of invested in this lore.
Well, me too, and I would love to. I have the first 2 books, and I'm gonna get the rest of them. I would love to kind of play through. I would just like to explore this universe a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think it is, of all of the video game universes that we have, I think this is one of the most fleshed out.
Yeah.
The game that this reminds me of in terms of lore and intrigue and interest and all of that is Final Fantasy XII.
Okay.
Which set in Ivalice, which is the same place as Final Fantasy Tactics.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of that world of Ivalice. There's like 4 or 5 games in that world that just were fascinating. And kind of remind me a lot of this game. Mind you, this world's much darker.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to say the F word. A lot.
Yeah. A lot of F words.
Especially the underground. I love the King of
King of Beggars.
King of Beggars.
He was pretty cool.
He was cool.
And I like how what do they call that place? The Garden of
Putrid Grove.
Yeah, Putrid Grove, where he found Triss.
Yes.
All right, you ready to do this?
I'm
ready
ready.
to see who he's meeting. Go.
Yeah, I'm totally watching it. Sorry, I had some business stuff happen. I'm just turning off Twitch. Nobody's watching anyway. Hey Siri.
Is it done? Yes.
Is it done?
Can you believe? I have no idea.
Believe me?
I have no idea.
For the cockpit.
See, they both seem like these. I love the one of the things we haven't talked about. The camera angles in this game are fascinating.
They're very
Because look-
cinematically done.
Not only cinema, but look at where we're positioned.
We're at the table with them.
Yeah, we're sitting here,
Yep.
and it's just. I mean,
It's yours. It's yours.
we get to be a part of these really intimate moments, and it's
Mhm.
just fascinating to me. Because there's not a really like another like Fallout 4.
Witcher sword.
It's a first person.
Witcher sword. Sword. May I?
Here. Ample opportunity soon, Allier. Witcher. Ample opportunity soon.
So did she go through the mutations?
No.
Let's try it out then. Let's try it out then.
Is that the end?
Now we'll see the final. And I love that they throw in the
Polish.
Polish.
Third Northern War ended. The invader from the south achieved complete victory. Robbed of Radovid's tactical genius. The Northern Realms could understand. Black banners appeared over Novigrad and all the nation. Weary of rebel raids, Emir Varemris seceded, restoring Temeria as a realm in peace to the Empire. When the guerrillas laid down their arms, the Emperor shifted his forces to other
I love they brought it back
Yeah.
to the cavern with the.
God's victory.
Where they take down that.
Yeah, I love that.
History, once again, proved the consummate tradesman. Having dealt with Radovid, Emir of Varemris did the same with enemies.
So he killed him?
Loyal spies named Aldrich
No.
conspired against him.
I was gonna say
You helped kill Radovid.
what?
Though their mutiny had only been a murky plan,
Radovid's the king that enacted the witch hunts. And
No, I know.
everything. So you join up with Vernon Roach and Siggy and take out Radovid, and you get a trophy called Assassin of Kings, which is the title of Witcher 2.
Yeah.
So you don't actually deal the killing blow.
the island found tension and prosperity.
So one of the things that
Pangs of yore.
I loved about The Witcher 2 was that opening cutscene.
Okay, here we go. Here's series ending.
Chose the life of a witcher on the path. Geralt taught her all he knew, every skill he possessed. Then each set off on their own. Soon word of the ashen-haired witcheress has spread throughout the north, from the Yaruga mountains of Kovir. Hard as it may be to believe, Geralt planted roots. Far away Kovir. He and Triss settled down. Their home warm and smelling of freshly baked cakes. Guests were always welcome, no matter the day or the hour. The Witcher would take jobs at times, more from habit than need, for Triss earned a true fortune as the page advisor to Kovir's king.
So there you go. Those are all the choices I made through the game and all the endings.
Huh.
So what do you think?
Well, obviously a lot happens between where I am and where
Yes.
that ended.
Yes.
Because didn't
And
see that
it's
happening.
it's worth following it through.
I am kind of sad that Geralt's story is done.
Yeah.
If
But
it is.
I've got maybe some insight to that kind of lore based. If you want to talk about it now.
Not quite.
Okay.
But I do think, I think we're going to see another Witcher game.
I think so too.
And it would be very, very interesting to play as Ciri. To have Ciri be the main
I think
main
I
character.
hope that's where they go with it.
They do have the kind of cyberpunk game coming out,
Yeah.
which is interesting. But I do think that we'll see another Witcher
I
game.
think we will too. I just don't think it'll star Geralt because I think his story's been told.
He's such an amazing character,
He's
though.
a fantastic character. I hope he plays a big part in the next game, but I don't think he'll necessarily be the playable character.
I mean, because even like look how he's a very heroic.
He's pretty
awesome
awesome.
buff. It's like I would love to
But
have his.
But he's also not like
upper body.
a typical hero.
Yeah.
Like in terms, like I mean he's built and he's strong, but like the gray hair, the yellow eyes, like it's very.
Yeah.
He's not like the typical chiseled, handsome hero. You know, he's good looking. You know, he's got a ruggedness to him, but at the same time he's unique.
I wouldn't mind looking like him when I'm 70.
No.
I'd have to lose some weight, which I am.
All right, good job.
I've lost 2 inches. It's awesome. It sucks though, because all I eat is salmon.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, you know,
Salmon's good, but
it's boring.
not all the time.
Boring. I'm not a huge salmon fan. I would rather have tuna, but tuna's too fatty.
Is it?
Yeah.
Even fresh tuna?
Anyway, personal conversation.
Personal
aside.
sidebar.
Have you ever read Name of the Wind
What?
by Patrick Wiseman? Patrick Rothfuss?
No, I think my wife has. Because when
It's
I
a
was
really-
talking to her about The Witcher, she said it makes her want to go back and read that. So tell me a little bit about what you're thinking of. I want to see if it's the same
It's
one.
just kind of a very interesting. It's the same kind of setting. It's a very dark world, and it's a very kind of a underdog hero. Where Geralt isn't really an underdog, but he does kind of have that
The world's against him.
unassuming quality
Yeah.
about him, where you very much want him to succeed,
Mhm.
and not just because you're playing him. I mean,
But
I
because
think it would be.
of who he is, like
Yeah.
he throws in his lot with the
Yeah.
oppressed,
Yeah, he does.
and
it's not really
good
something like we don't
character.
really see other Witchers do that. Like even Vesemir.
yeah.
Vesemir's like, yeah, screw these people. I gotta go back to Kaer Morhen and
Well, and
take
there's
care
parts
of
where
crap
he's like,
there.
he's like, don't get involved.
Yeah.
You know, when he tells him the time, he's like, don't get involved. He's
Yeah.
like, this isn't
Like-
why we're here.
as if I could stop getting involved.
Right.
You know.
Geralt's like, no, I'm getting involved.
And I think he's very well crafted. And like I said, anytime you're drawing from an established lore, like you are with The Witcher, I think you're gonna have a deeper, more well-rounded video game.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's my issue with like Call of Duty Modern Warfare. They're very flat characters, or even, Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight. Everybody in that game was a flat character to me. They were not well-rounded. I did not give a crap about Jason Todd.
Yep.
I did not. Honestly, I didn't really even care about Batman in that game. He was not the Batman from Arkham City.
No, I actually kind of hated Batman.
I did too.
I just thought
I
he
did too. It was
good.
like, dude, I don't give a crap. And even Barbara and Tim. Was it Tim?
Yeah. Which was so stupid that they married him in
Yeah.
Arkham. Like, they have no connection. It's always been
Yeah.
Barbara and Dick Grayson.
Exactly.
Like, I had no idea where that came from. I was like, wait,
Me either.
really?
But the thing was, I didn't really even care.
Yeah.
And when they fake killed Barbara, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it yet.
And for anybody who didn't see through that,
Yeah,
it was so stupid.
I did not care.
Like,
I honestly didn't care.
I didn't believe it for a minute. I was like,
Neither did I.
They don't have the balls to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I know we go back to that game a lot, but I think honestly of the games that have come out recently, if I had to list like must-play games of the last